apart from this, my ears looks like elves. I don't want to show it. Oh my god. Hey dirty little monkeys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you guys are doing fine. I hope you guys are well. Today we're gonna be talking about some of the most haunted houses in the world. First house that we're gonna be looking at is Jean Harlow's house in Los Angeles. Back in the 1932, an actress named Jean Harlow bought this house and lived in there with her husband. One unfortunate day, her husband, Mr. Paul Byrne, shot himself in front of the mirror in that house. Once the butler found out his body in that room, he didn't actually call the police or the FBI or any security. He called the MGM first. The MGM is actually the place where Mr. Paul Byrne was actually working as a producer. The MGM is actually the place where Mr. Paul Byrne was actually working as a producer. Rumors also claimed that this was probably not a suicide, as the butler first called his company instead of seeking for help, and later on it was confirmed that most probably that this was a suicide. They found out a suicide note written by Paul Byrne. The suicide note actually said, "Dearest dear, unfortunately, this is the only way to make good the frightful wrong I have done you and wipe out my abject humiliation. I love you, Paul. You understand that last night was only comedy." Paul Byrne took his own life because he couldn't satisfy his young wife Jean Harlow. She was still together with him even though the age difference is quite a lot. They claim that he was ashamed that he couldn't give what it takes to a very young and beautiful popular artist. Apart from this particular history, Mr. Ben and Mr. Sam had a different point of view for this tragedy. Before Jean Harlow came into Mr. Paul Byrne's life, he was actually married to Dorothy Millett. And what's most screwed up about this is that my dude was with Jean Harlow and actually still married to Dorothy Millett, and he also partially supported her. It is claimed that this Dorothy Millett had been to visit Paul Byrne on the very day he took his life. What's also more twisted is that after only about 48 hours the Paul Byrne took his life, Dorothy Millett actually took her life too. She jumped off a ferry boat. When all of this actually happened, this Jean Harlow was not in town. She was away to meet her mom on that very day. Jean Harlow actually had a lot to take in, but she somehow got through and she moved out of the house. Unfortunately, that beautiful young actress passed away at the age of 26 due to some health issues. Back in the 1963, celebrity hairstylist named Jay Sebring decided to buy this house and live in this house with his girlfriend, Sharon Tate or Tate. It was all fun and games, girlfriend living with me and everything. But then, unfortunately, after a few years, this dude kinda didn't make it through. This girl kind of found another dude named Roman Polanski. But then this Jay Sebring was kind of cool with that and they stayed friends. They lived in the same house though, and they were still friends. Now, this is where it gets really creepy. Miss Sharon was actually murdered by the Charles Manson cult. And when this murder happened, Miss Sharon was actually the same age as Jean Harlow. When this tragic happened to her, Miss Sharon was actually pregnant, and four of her friends who came over to stay over with her was actually also brutally murdered, including Jay Sebring. By this time, Mr. Roman Polanski was actually out for work to Europe. But previously, before that tragic murder happened, Miss Sharon actually had a few paranormal experiences while she was living in this house. For example, one night when she was sleeping in her bedroom, she actually saw a creepy little man walking around. She believed that it was Paul Byrne. Well, this is where it gets kind of creepy. She also saw a shadowy corpse hanging in the hallway with a slit throat. It doesn't only stop there. Past all of these years, there were actually a lot of cases of people who passed away in their swimming pool. The second haunted house that we're going to be looking at is the Villisca ex-murder house in Iowa. On the 9th June of 1912, six members of this family and two of their house guests were brutally bludgeoned to death in this house. They were attacked with an axe. All eight victims, including two children, brutally murdered with severe head wounds. On the 9th June, this Moore family, Josiah, Sarah, and her four children, Herman, Mary, Arthur, and Paul. This Mary girl invited two of her friends to stay over with them. And on the very evening, all of them attended this church and took part in a Children's Day program. The program ended at 9:30 p.m. and by 9:45 to 10 o'clock, this family was back home already. However, the very next day, the next morning, Miss Mary Peckham, who is this Moore family's neighbor, got a little bit concerned about this family because none of them woke up and came out for their morning chores. She waited for a while and then for a long time they weren't out, which was suspicious. So she went to knock on the door. Well, no one answered, and then this woman tried to open the door, but it was locked. She knew something bad was happening. This girl called Josiah's brother, Mr. Ross. And Ross came in and knocked on the door and did the same thing. He didn't get any response either. So he used the spare key, went inside and opened the guest room first, and he saw two dead bodies. It was actually Ina and Lena's bodies on the bed. Those two girls were Mary's friends who came in to stay over. My dude Ross was shook. Ross quickly asked Miss Mary Peckham to call Villisca's primary peace officer, Mr. Horton. Came in shortly. Then he searched and investigated the whole house and confirmed that the whole entire family were brutally murdered. The weapon, which is an axe, actually belonged to Josiah. The doctors and medical people who came in to check, they actually confirmed from their dead bodies that the murder took place probably at 5 a.m. It is said that this killer actually spent time in the attic smoking, waiting for this family to fall asleep. Josiah was the victim with most axe cuts all over the body. It was very brutal until the face was cut so badly that even the eyes went missing. The investigator found out that this murderer actually used the blunt side of an axe to the other victims, and for Josiah, he used the blade part very harshly. They also found out that this murderer actually stayed in the house after he had killed all of them. And then, for the right time, he left. After a lot of investigations and FBI crime scene moments, they found out the main big suspect was named Henry Lee Moore. Same last name, but he's not a relation. How they took him as the main suspect is that he had previous ex-murdering experience before this, which was very, very similar to the Moore family's killings. Apart from this history, there is a book is available out there. The book's name is Man from the Train by Bill James and his daughter. And from their investigation and in their book, they concluded that Paul Miller is the murderer. They came up with this conclusion by gathering up all the information which made very, very more detailed similarities with other murderers that he had done. The next house we're going to be looking at is Charleville Castle. This castle is a very gothic themed castle in the county of Offaly, Ireland. This castle was actually built in the 1978 first Earl, which was Mr. William Bury. It was fully completed on the 1814. This castle is actually believed to be the most haunted buildings in Europe. Several stories that's tragically happened in this castle, and the most notorious one is the ghost of a little girl. So there was this girl named Harriet, fun little girl, and one day this girl tried to slid down the banister of the stairs, and when she was sliding down, she accidentally fell down from the stairwell and broke her neck and died on the spot. She actually fell from the second floor. And since then, it is said that this girl is living in this house. There are a lot of experiences and paranormal activities. Many investigators and ghost busting people, physicists have visited this paranormal place. It's open for visiting right now. And the visitors have claimed a lot of experiences. For example, some of them have felt chill whenever they're climbing the stairs as they felt her presence with them. And some even claimed that this girl's figure, they have seen it skipping past by them. That's it for today, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys have a great week and a great year. Oh yeah, Happy New Year! Happy New Year! Oh my god, I forgot. It's gonna be wonderful. Everything negative is gonna stop. We're gonna have fun. But let's kill it this year. It's gonna be dope. I appreciate you guys so much. Take care. Wear your mask. Bye bye.